The fundamental, there are many terminologies like costing, cost accounting, cost accountancy, right? Three terminologies. Okay. We will start with assuming that all the three are. We'll assume that all the three are same. Okay. With that we'll go. Okay. So all the three are same. We assume, and we start with costing. Costing refers to, what is costing? That's it. Ascertain. Ascertainment of cost. Costing is what? Ascertaining means? Ascertainment means knowing, finding.
Estimation.
Not estimation. Okay, finding. Yeah, estimation also. Yeah, you're right there. Finding, estimating, identifying, knowing. Okay, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to identify the cost. We are trying to ascertain the, estimate the, find the, identify the cost is what is costing, right? And the purpose why we ascertain cost, right? So, right, already given answer. What? For budget. If I know the cost, I can make a budget. So not. If I tell you the cost of coaching will be this much, then you will make a budget. When I can pay, how much I can pay, you can make a budget. That is your budgeting. So cost will help you. If you know the cost, if you ascertain the cost, you will prepare a budget. It will help you for budgets. It will help you for, oh, you'd spend a little bit ahead. Okay, performance evaluation is also correct. Okay, but before performance, why you are preparing budget? Why you are preparing budget?
To arrange my funds.
To arrange my funds. So you arrange the funds. Then what you will do?
Investment.
Sorry?
I can invest.
Costing, you are going into investment.
Means
Spend.
I can
You
plan
spend.
my.
Correct? So there's a picnic. There's a picnic. For a picnic, you have ascertained the cost. The cost of the picnic will be 10,000. 10 people going, divided by 10. Each one will contribute 1,000 rupees. That's not investment. What? Daivakrapa, that's not investment.
Yes.
That's right. That's cost.
Yes.
1,000 rupees per head cost. You estimated it. You budgeted it. Right? You went to picnic and the cost has become, when you started spending, you spent 12,000. Now you are asking everyone to pay 200 more. So after picnic, you are again doing the costing. So costing is done for budget purposes, also for actual costing also. It is done for actual costing purposes also. You did budgeting, you did actual costing. Actual costing is what you are actually spending. Yes or not? Does it make sense? Now comes what? Now comes comparison. Costing is, if costing is done, you can compare. What you will compare, man? What is the actual? What is the budget? Then what you will find out? Where it happened? What is the issue? Who spent more? Why it spent more? Was the transportation more? Was the food more? Was the stay more? You can identify who was responsible for arranging the stay. Why he is spending more. We can find out. So you can find out, compare, and you can find out variances. And then if you find variances, we can performance evaluation. You can do a performance evaluation. Why? Why? Who made the cost more? Why the transportation cost become increased by 200? Who was in charge? Prasad, why you said it will cost only 3,000 rupees? Why it has become another 2,000 rupees? Why it has increased? You can ask me. You can make you responsible. That's what you read in your part 1. Performance evaluation. Right? So these are the purposes of cost. These are the main purpose. But having said that, I asked what is costing. This guy started saying that, sir, we control costs. I don't know who said that. Okay. So we also do cost control and cost reduction. So if I know the cost, then you will say control. Yes or not? The moment I say that let's go to the picnic and each one will have to pay 1,000 rupees, then Prasad will say, no, I think 1,000 is too much for this picnic. I may not be able to go for it. Then we can't leave him. So what we will do? We will try to, okay, we will not go by AC. Okay, or we will do something. Or we will not stay in 3-star hotel, we will find out a reasonable budget hotel. Like that, what we will do, we will try to cut the costs or control the cost so that it fits in within our budgets. Does it make sense? So there is a cost control and cost reduction also. It is right. Now all these costs you are doing for what purposes? One important thing is that if I know the cost of manufacturing this mic, I could go ahead and fix the price. A cost of the manufacturing is 10,000. I want a 3,000 rupees profit. Let me sell it at 13,000. I want 3,000 rupees profit, I know, but I don't know the cost. If I don't know the cost, I can't fix the
price.
You are making, does it make sense or not? So that's the purpose of costing, right? So these are the one of the main reasons why people do costing. Yes. Now, when it comes to costing, okay, the most important aspect that we talk about is if costing is so important, okay, and do you do costing in your day-to-day life? For your expenses this month, you made a costing. For the expenses of this month, you made a costing. Does it make sense? Yes or not? Like that, for going to a picnic, you will make a costing. You have to go and write an exam in Kolkata, you will make a costing. Yes or not? Yes, this is all costing. You have to join for coaching classes, you will make a costing, how much it will cost, because you have to ask someone or you have to arrange money for that. Does it make sense? This is about your cost, right? So if I want to do this costing, identify cost, budget cost, I should know what are the different costs. So now from costing, try to avoid that. From costing, we are going to costs. Let me know if I know the costs, I know the costing. So let me know the cost, what types of costs we have. Now the topic of costing is more relevant when it is relevant for you and me, costing, because we do costing every day. It is more relevant to corporates which are doing business, manufacturing and all. So let us say a manufacturer of chairs, okay, a factory of chairs is there. They will do costing, correct or not? So we have a factory where we produce goods. So there is in our factory, there is an output. Right? What is the output? Chairs. Right? To manufacture these chairs, what do you want? So we have raw materials. Then we have too good. What do we have? Labor. Anything else? And there are expenses. There are expenses. These three things together. Oh, what are these? You want to manufacture a chair, you need steel. Steel is material. Yes, you need someone to mold the steel, put the screws or something. So we need labor, right? And all this must be done at a factory. Factory will require lighting, current, electricity, water bills, and all that is expensive, right? Do you think of anything else that is required? Only these things. Okay, name may be anything. You may say something else. You may say nuts and bolts, but that's also material only. Following it or not? Yes or not? You may say a security guard, that is again labor only. Does it make sense? So these are all part of my expenses which I incur. These are the costs which I incur. Now when it comes to raw material can be of two types. What are the two types of raw material? What is the two type of material? Let's not say raw material, let's say material. What is the two type of material we use in a factory? Very simple, direct material and indirect material. What is direct material? What is the definition of direct material? The definition is it is direct because it is directly involved. Involved in what? Output. Directly involved in output. It is directly involved in output. Correct? Or another word you can use is essential. It is essential to manufacture the chair. So what is the essential item to be that is required for the chair? Steel, wood, wooden chair, wood, steel chair, steel. Is that net? What else? Plastic. Bolts. What else? See the chair and tell. That's all? That's all you can observe? Huh? That's not material, no? I'm talking about material, no? What else, man? Net is over, steel is over, plastic over, nuts and bolts over. Observation is
Gum.
what, Jeba?
Gum or
Gum. Somewhere you may put some gum. Yeah, possibly, maybe, yeah. Okay, some gum, we call it adhesive. Adhesive means gum. Huh? Paints. Paint, no, that is paint only. The steel color, the silver color is a paint. Right? After some time it will get over. That you can, it comes out. It's a paint. Does it make sense? Now in this, which is essential, which is not essential? What constitutes more value will be considered as direct.
direct?
Does it make sense? So to become direct material, two conditions must be fulfilled: more value and essential. More value and essential. Either both is better. More value, definitely it is that. Does it make sense? So the bolts, the adhesive, they become indirect because the value, the chair value is 1000 rupees. In this 1000 rupees, the wood or steel will be maybe 700 rupees. The adhesive and the bolts will be for one chair. Talk about one chair. 30 rupees. So that is very negligible, not even 3% also. Paint also maybe 100 rupees. Maybe overall compared to bolts, yeah, you can treat it as a paint also, you can treat it as indirect, no problem. You can treat it as indirect. Does it make sense? Yes? So what do you have? Direct material, indirect material. Similarly, labor. In my factory, people come and work. Some people directly work on the chair. Some people don't work on the chair, they clean it. Supervisor is direct or indirect? Indirect only. He is not directly involved. Does it make sense? Yes? Directly who are involving, they are. Yeah. Make sense? So in my home, when we got our dining table done, the carpenter who came and did the work is direct labor. There will be a helper. Say, just clean this. Then that fellow will clean all the. His job is to only help the carpenter. That fellow's salary is, it's overhead. Right? Following it. Then we have direct labor, indirect labor. Then expenses also, direct expenses and indirect expenses. But 90% of the time, expenses are indirect only. 90% of time, expenses are indirect. Very rarely, some businesses have some direct expenses.
The indirect cannot be trained.
Are you following it or not? Right? So, for example, if you see accounting wise, okay, mostly all our expenses are indirect expenses only. Yes, but sometimes where we pay something annually to Wiley, when that becomes our direct expense. Wiley is not a labor. Wiley is not material. It's a service for which we pay them, right? So then it becomes a direct expense. Rarely we have a direct expense, which is very essential. Without that, we can't conduct the classes. Are you following it or not? Right? So this is how it works. Right? Now, all the direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses constitute this is prime cost.
Prime cost.
Not product cost. This is prime cost. Yes.
The product cost is material and labor.
Sorry.
Product cost will be material and labor, sir.
I think we have to. Someone has to brush up their their knowledge. This is prime cost, right? Indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses together. These are factory overhead, right? क्या महेश क्या बोलते हो आप?
Yes, sir.
What do you say?
Overhead.
Huh?
Overhead, sir.
Yeah, prime cost, factory overhead.
Product cost, sir.
This is product cost. This is product cost. Does it make sense? This is called product cost. Yes. So once we have this product cost, this is what goes into the output. Right? If I say the product cost is 1000 rupees for that chair, then I can trace out. I can trace out that 700 will be material, 100 will be indirect material, so 800. Some worker cost will be 100, and maybe other expenses will be 100, 1000 rupees. I can trace them out, or I can say that these are the costs which went into the product. So they are called product costs, right? Only confusion will be sometimes in direct expenses. Just ignore them. There will, unless the question says that, there will be no direct expenses. Expenses means indirect expenses and overheads. So this is your product cost. What are the components of product cost? Prime cost and factory overheads. What are the components of prime cost? Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, right? And then you have factory overheads, right? Factory overhead consists of like indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. This is your product cost, right? So this is called cost classification. This is called cost classification based on components. This is based on components. This is classification of cost based on their function. So two types of classifications we saw. What are the costs what are the product costs? Given, if I ask given what are the product costs, he will say material, labor and expenses, he will say. Correct answer or wrong answer? Correct answer. So how did he classify costs? Based on components. If I ask Ravi Teja what are the costs, he will say prime cost and factory overheads. How did he classify costs? Based on functions. Does it make sense? Maikesh, yes? Daiva, yes?
Yes, sir.
Right. To this factory, there is a selling and distributive department also, and also an admin department, administrative and selling and distribution department also, which also incur some costs. They also incur some costs. They also have material. They also have labor. They also have expenses. All these are called indirect only. All these are indirect only because they are not part of your output. Even if administrative department, accountants, HRs don't come also, you will get your output. So they are nothing to do with the factory or the product. So these costs here are indirect costs. Are you following it or not? So this is also a classification. So what are the costs? Costs can be classified based on functions like prime cost, factory overheads and selling and distributive overheads. Administrative and selling and distributive overheads are also costs. Does it make sense? This is your classification of costs. This is nothing but your classification of costs. Make sense? Now, costs can be classified as based on components based on functions, then based on behavior. How costs behave. Do costs have behavior? What is the behavior of cost? Either they are either fixed costs or they are variable costs. Even what are fixed costs? Sorry?
There is no change in the cost, right?
They will be fixed. There will not be any change. Give an example. Ah. Right. Okay. Is it not variable? Is it fixed cost? Huh?
Say 5 rupees, there is no bargaining.
Or if you can bargain, it is variable cost. If you can't bargain, then
Cost will not change. So 5 is 5 only.
Okay. Jeevan, what is this? Marker. For accounting minds, marker is an cost. Correct? This is fixed cost or variable cost. Fixed cost. Correct? If I have one batch, one classroom, I'll have one. Yes. If I have 10 classrooms, only one. If there is a class going on there, they will use the same pen. Then what will happen? You have to buy more. So it varies or not. If I have one class every day and if I have 10 classes every day, so as the classes increase, the pen consumption increases. So it is
Variable cost.
your notebooks, variable or fixed cost. The more you write, the more it is. It's a variable cost. And what is the fixed cost? Electricity. Okay, electricity or rent, salaries. Yes or no? You 3 students are there or 15 students are there. I have to pay the same rent, same salaries. Correct or not? So it is a fixed cost. Does it make sense? So there are fixed costs and there are variable costs. Right? Now what is a variable cost? Variable cost is something which will vary. Which will vary with the output. Output changes, cost also changes. Then it is called variable cost. Output changes, but cost does not change. Then it is fixed. Does it make sense? So this exercise I think we have done before, but one more time we will do it now. Okay, this exercise of finding out costs. What is this cost? So sale, sorry. What do you see there? Units are 1000. Variable cost is what is this? What is this? Is 16. What, man? Huh? How much is that? 15,000. Mikesh, you're there. Mikesh left. You're there, but I don't know why we can't hear you, man. I'm not getting your voice. Mikesh, say something. Mikesh? Mikesh, can you hear us? Daiva, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Then maybe some issue with Mikesh. Huh? Done. So it is 15,000. Right? So this is called variable cost, fixed cost, total cost. Then we have something called, what is this? That is
Variable cost per unit.
how much?
8 rupees.
How 8 rupees?
The 8,000 by 8,000 by 1,000, sir.
8,000 by 1,000.
1,000.
And how much is fixed cost per unit?
7.
What is the total cost per unit?
15.
Does it make sense? Now, if I start producing instead of producing 1,000, yes, instead of producing 1,000, if I produce 1,400 units, what will be my costs? Note this down and note till this up. Note it up. Find the numbers.
11,200, sir.
Huh?
5.71, sir.
11,200.
11,200. How much is the
Total.
fixed cost?
I'm asking for cost. Into 8.
9,800, sir.
I mean, how much is the fixed cost?
7,000, sir.
Total cost. Variable cost per unit. Fixed cost per unit.
Sir,
Total cost.
13, sir.
Why? What's the issue? What's the issue, Daiva?
Nothing, sir.
Huh?
Nothing, sir. Nothing.
Then where are you getting this 5,800 from? Very, very fundamentals. Did not expect you to say 5,800 there. Variable cost varies with units. 1 unit 8 rupees. 1,400 units
11,200, sir.
Fixed cost is fixed cost. It doesn't change with units.
Changing of
So this is the problem. So variable cost is 8 rupees only. But variable cost should change, right? Variable cost means it should change. Did it change? Yes, variable cost changed. Variable cost per unit is constant.
same.
VCPU is constant. Following it or not? Variable cost per unit will is constant. Following it or not? The pen which I use here is variable cost. The paper I give material for you. I have to print this book and give it to you. 100 pages. One student means 100 pages. Two students means 200. Three students means 300 pages. So students increase. What increases? Prints
Variable
will
cost.
increase. Cost will increase. Correct or not? But
Yes, sir.
the 100 rupees print cost is
So variable per unit will not increase, sir.
per one note I have to give. It costs me 100 rupees. I give you 100 rupees. I give you 100 rupees. I give you 100 rupees. 10 people are there. Correct or not? Alright. So cost is variable cost. Then Jeevan will say, sir, what if the paper cost increases? And if paper cost increases, then again it is still variable only. This variable cost may become 10 rupees, but its behavior is same. Are you following it? I am not talking about prices. I am talking about behavior of cost. I am not saying that it will be 8 rupees only. It can be 9 rupees. It can be 10 rupees. But its behavior is same. Does it make sense to you? So rent is 40,000. Fixed or variable? Can rent change? Yeah, it can change. If the owner says, give me 5,000 more rent, then it will become, rent will increase. But behavior is fixed. I don't pay rent based on number of students. I pay rent as a fixed every month. Are you following it or not? Does it make sense? Are we done? So variable cost per unit is
Consistent.
constant.
Constant.
And fixed cost per unit is,
Varies.
it varies. Per unit fixed cost will vary. Does it mean? Because the cost is same, the units are changed. Done. So can you calculate for 700 units? Very quickly and correctly, all of you. Jeevan specifically, Devakrupa specifically. And also Maikesh, why your answer was wrong? Why
Yes,
you
sir.
made a mistake in fixed costs?
Yes, sir. I will calculate 700, sir.
For 700 units.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, sir. 1 minute. $5,600, sir. Variable cost.
5,600.
Fixed, sir, say will be same. 7,000. 12,600. Variable, sir. 1 second.
Why he is calculating again? I don't
8,
understand.
8, sir. 8, sir.
8 only.
Yes, sir. Fixed cost will be changing, sir.
How much?
Fixed cost will be 10, sir.
And total cost?
18, sir.
Following it. There you are following it. Right?
Yes,
Variable
sir.
cost is constant, fixed cost per unit is changing. Whereas variable cost is varies and fixed cost is
In total, sir.
That's what I don't want to mention it. Here
Yes,
I will
yes.
say per unit, you will say. That's all. So this is, yeah, let us go like what my case is. Total variable cost. Total. Yes. Did we know the behavior of costs? How many costs are there here? 3 costs. What about total cost? What is the nature of total cost?
Varies, sir.
It varies. What is the behavior of total cost per unit?
Varies.
It also varies, sir.
Varies.
Does it make sense? This also varies. Done? This also varies? This also varies. Yes? So it varies means it increases or it decreases. When it will increase, when it will decrease. You are right, it may increase, it may
Sir,
decrease. When
when
it will increase.
unit production increases, then the total cost decrease.
When production increases,
Total cost decrease.
cost,
Decrease.
cost. When production increases, total cost also increases. Right? When production increases, total cost per unit
Dec-
decreases. Are you following? Does it make sense? And when production decreases, total cost
decrease.
decreases. When production decreases, total cost per unit,
Increases.
does it make sense? This is the behavior of costs. What do you want? Over. Right. So let me go back to something which we already discussed. Coming back to this, right? I asked what are the different costs? What did give and tell? What was your answer? What are those? Okay. ठीक है. Given says variable costs and fixed costs, and the total is total cost. I asked Ravi Teja, what are the costs? What's your answer? I asked Prasad, what are the costs? He said material, labor, and who is right? Both are right. He is explaining cost based on same cost. In his variable costs, material cost is there, labor cost is there, expenses are also there. Just that he is saying they are variable costs. Yes or not? He is saying expenses are there, material is there, labor is there in the costs, but in that fixed costs are also there, variable costs are also there. Right? If I ask this guy, what are the costs? What will you say? Prime cost and overheads, you will say. In prime cost, what is there?
Direct.
Variable costs are there, fixed costs are there. Yes or not? Does it make sense or not? So just that we are distinguishing, we are expressing the same thing in different ways. Are you following it or not? Right? Similarly, so if I ask Prasad, what are the costs? He says direct material. I ask him, direct material is variable or fixed? Now I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to connect what Jeevan said and what Prasad said. I want to connect these two. This guy says there are variable costs and fixed costs. This guy says there is raw material cost, there is labor cost, and there is expenses. So I'm asking you that if both are right, then you must also be right. Direct material is variable cost or fixed cost. Both. What they are?
Sir,
Direct material is variable cost or fixed cost?
variable, sir.
Maikesh.
Yes, sir.
What? Yes, man. You have to answer.
Direct material, sir.
Variable cost or fixed cost?
Variable cost, sir.
It is variable cost. But Ravi just says it is fixed cost. There is fixed cost also possible. Right? If I ask you that the chair you are sitting on, in that steel is there. Steel is direct material or indirect material? Direct
Direct.
material. It is a variable cost or fixed cost?
So steel.
Variable or fixed? One chair, 1 kilo of steel. Two chairs,
2 kg.
2
three,
kilos.
three chairs.
3 kilos.
So it is.
Fixed.
So variable.
What is fixed here? Which material? Which material you are talking about fixed? In chair, what is the direct material? Steel. Is it variable or fixed?
One chair, one person.
In a car engine, variable or fixed? One car, one engine. 100 cars, 100 engines. How fixed? How it is fixed?
Sir, you gave an example, sir, about rent. About rent, sir.
Ah.
I was seeing like that.
No, rent is different. Rent is expense. I am talking about material. Tell me about only material. Tell me about only material. It is? Does it make sense? So the entire direct material is variable cost. So I will go here. So we'll write here direct material is variable cost. Is there any fixed cost here? No, in direct material it's a direct, yeah. Direct means variable. Does it make sense? Direct means variable. Does it make sense? Now how about indirect material? Indirect material can be variable cost or fixed cost is possible. Okay, again, I can Raviteja Prasad can argue how indirect material can be fixed cost. I will probably have to accept also maybe variable. Why? Because it is material. It's material. It must be traced back to the so it is, maybe. So here I can say that indirect material 90% of the costs are variable only. Somewhere some 10% maybe fixed cost may be there in material. Some oil, some grease. Okay, that may be fixed. Every month we purchase that. That also eventually will stop if the production stops. Are you following it or not? Then you have direct labor. Direct labor is variable. No production, no labor. You're constructing a house. You need people. The masonry will come and the mason. In English, it's called mason. Mason is the person who will construct the house. Direct labor or indirect labor? Direct labor. He doesn't come, there is no house. Are you getting this or not? The other coolies and all are Maybe in that, maybe in that. Some of them may be in that. The supervisor may not come, but still the wall will raise. Yes or not? Does it make sense or not? Yes. So the direct material is always variable cost, and indirect labor is, it could be variable or it could be fixed. Similarly, expenses. Expenses can be variable or fixed.
Fixed.
So ultimately, all costs are either variable or fixed cost. Something you have to understand. Now that you have understood, now you have to remember that direct material is and direct labor is variable only. Indirect material is variable or fixed also. And indirect labor can be variable or fixed. Nuts and bolts are indirect material, but they are variable costs or fixed costs. Nuts and bolts. Indirect, but variable or fixed? Variable. One chair, 4 nuts, 4 bolts. 100 chairs, 400 nuts and 400 bolts. So it is variable. So in building, if there is a building, for building contract, for constructing of this house, you agreed to work. You will take 10,000. 10,000 you will take for one wall. Labor work. Only labor 10,000. One wall 10,000. 2 walls.
One wall like this.
So there the unit itself is changing. No? The unit is walls. Number of walls is units. One wall 10,000 like that. Okay, now if you don't construct the wall, will I pay you? Will I pay you? So it is. Is it fixed? If it is fixed, even if you don't produce also, I have to pay.
You have to pay.
Are you following? I put one person. One student joins, I will pay you 1,000 rupees. Like what? What is that? That's called what? Name of that. Name of that cost. Name of that cost. If one student pays, joins, I will pay Lakshmi 1,000 rupees. That's what? Variable only, man. What is the name of the expense? Commission. There's a name of the expense, no? What is that? That is called commission. Commission is variable. Commission is variable. Does that make sense? One student, 1,000 rupees. No student, no commission. 10 students, 10,000 rupees. Agree or not? Yes. Now I pay salary. Monthly salary 20,000. Now that is fixed. Whether students join or don't join, I pay. Correct or not? Now come to Ravi Teja. One wall you construct, I will pay 10,000 rupees. If you construct only, I will pay. No. If you don't construct, I will pay. I will not pay. That means what is it? It is variable only. You construct, then only I will pay. So with the production, it is linked. With production, it is linked, then it is variable. Does it make sense? Right? This is about it. So what we are saying is that all the costs here you are seeing can be variable cost or fixed cost. Variable cost or fixed cost. Variable cost or, this is again variable cost. Variable costs are, so prime costs are variable costs. Prime costs are variable costs. Nowhere in your books you will find it. Because That's not 100% correct. 98% what I'm saying is correct. What is that? Prime costs are variable costs. My logic is that all direct costs are variable costs. All direct costs are variable costs because they're direct. If you produce, you have to incur. You don't produce, you don't incur. So they are variable costs. My production increases, the cost increases. So I call them variable costs. So prime costs are variable costs and production overheads are maybe variable or maybe fixed cost. Please remember this is very, very important in the coming up topics. Or in part 1 you have already analyzed that. In part 1 this will become very, very important for you guys. Are you following it? So I'll make one statement, Prasad, you correct me. All production overheads are fixed costs. True or false? All prime costs are variable costs. True or false? Mostly true. Right? Production overheads can be variable or fixed costs. Does it make sense? Is that clear? Right. So the product cost is variable cost. Agree or not? Product cost will have fixed costs as well as variable costs. Direct labor is variable cost. True or false? True. Direct material is variable cost. True or false? True. Production overheads are variable cost. True or false?
True.
Not exactly. That's a nice answer. Not exactly. Production overheads can be variable or fixed. In my case, you have to be very careful over there.
Yes, sir.
Does it make sense? Right. So keeping this in mind, I've shared something on your WhatsApp. I've shared something on WhatsApp.